morning. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
And I'm Agam Akil, and here are the top headlines this hour. Muted opening for Indian equity benchmarks. India VIX continues to advance, but open interest in Asian Paints and Berger Paints increases as traders take fresh positions in their respective futures towards shorts. And banking stocks drag the markets lower, with SBI, ICICI Bank and Kotak Mahindra Bank are among the top losers on the Nifty. And Dr. Reddy's is the top Nifty gainer after one of its plants in Hyderabad gets an all clear from the US FDA.
Okay, let's take a look as to what's happening in the futures and options market. Well, it's been a weak opening today, but you've got the volatility index, which is up for the second straight day. In fact, as we speak, both Nifty as well as Bank Nifty are almost trading at day's low. 10,290 is the mark for Nifty. The premium has been contracting in the last 6 to 7 trading session. The Nifty December futures, however, are still hovering around the mark of, actually above the mark of 10,300 at the moment. Let's also pull up the India VIX, which so far has been a cause of concern. We've been highlighting this for you since yesterday. India VIX is now inching very closer to the 14.5 mark, trading with gains of almost 2.5%. Well, it looks like Nifty will consolidate around the current levels of 10,300 or thereabouts, at least till the time two important crucial events are not done and dusted with, one of them being the US Fed meeting, and the second is the Gujarat election result, which comes on December 18. That's the reason why India VIX has been trading in the positive territory. In fact, even if you look at a couple of option strike, a word of caution, because yesterday, though we had a gap up opening, there was at least put writing seen, but that's not the case so far, at least in the 45 minutes of trade. We've seen call writing coming back around the strikes 10,300 as well as the 10,400 strike, whereas on the put side, where the base for the market was shifting higher from 10,000 being the main support to about 10,100. So that strike so far has seen open interest addition of almost 1 lakh shares till now. Let's also look at Bank Nifty then. It had a gap down opening today. Remember, Bank Nifty yesterday retreated from its 20-day moving average. It couldn't touch that mark, but it retreated almost 100 points. And today we've seen 200 points cut coming there for Bank Nifty. 25,195 is the mark. In fact, for Bank Nifty strikes 25,300 as well as the 25,400. Both these strikes have seen call writing so far in today's trade. In terms of institutions, what they are doing yesterday, what we observed in the cash side, Agam, there was reduced selling seen from the FIs. But even if you look at the futures and options market, they were unwinding their short positions in the option space and also on the index futures side.
Right, Navneet, and because of the fact that we've seen an uptick in oil prices, we're looking at some amount of weakness seeping in the larger paint companies. So take, for example, Asian Paints or Berger Paints. Both these counters are looking at a knock around 1.5%. And we've seen a surge in open interest for both these stocks, which means that shorts are building up there. And among the top 5 in terms of gainers as far as the open interest is concerned. So fresh shorts building in for Asian Paints and Berger Paints. Havells India, on the other hand, while the underlying hasn't really moved too much, its open interest has also increased by around 10.5%. PNB and NIT Technologies among the other counters, looking at a surge in OI. In terms of unwinding, let's take a look at that list as well. We're looking at a lot of counters in terms of movement when it comes to a drop or decline in open interest. So there you have it. It's Chennai Petro, Tata Chemicals, NCC, Shriram Transport and KPIT Tech. Not too much to speak for, but I'll be watching out for crude oil prices and, of course, the impact on paint companies, perhaps even some tire companies going ahead, Navneet.
And for that matter, even the aviation stocks, because of crude oil prices, which are hovering around the 2-year high mark. You've seen Indigo, Jet Airways, SpiceJet come under pressure in today's trade. Jet Airways, which is in the ban period, is down almost 2%. Interglobe Aviation is down 2.5% so far. Okay, before we get our guest on the show, here's a reminder for you all. If you have any queries regarding the futures and options market, you can call us now on 022-4540-4141. You can also write to us on our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, with AskPQ hashtag. Let's welcome our F&O experts for the day then. Nirav Chheda of Nirmal Bank Securities and Abhijit Phatak of DefineEdge Solutions joins us on the show. Good morning to both of you gentlemen and appreciate you joining us today on Bloomberg Quint. Nirav, let me come to you first, where yesterday we had a gap up opening, but now it looks like Nifty's consolidating around the current mark and the higher volatility index seems to be a cause of concern. What sort of levels would you be watching out on the index today?
Yeah, see, the VIX for this month has gone up because of this election. The result is around the 18th, so VIX is likely to move up till then. Do not look much into it. However, if you are trading, you should be hedging your position. So just let me give you a picture of Nifty. It had come down to 10,000 levels, which was a very good support. The 10,000 put strike has the highest open interest built up, about 80 lakh shares in that strike. Also, the 50-day moving average is near. So every time Nifty has come down in this rally, the 50-day moving average has given a very good support for it, and from that Nifty has come up. So again, Nifty has bounced from the 50-day moving average. We have come to 10,300 levels. The PCR had fallen to 1, which has now come to 1.3 levels, which is a positive. We are seeing call unwinding in the last 2-3 days. Again, a big positive. We are seeing a certain amount of call open interest increase in the 10,600, 10,700 strikes. So that is also a very good sign. Overall, I do believe the bias would remain positive. Today is just a blip. Very likely we'll again move up in the second half, or probably second half of the week. Very likely, if you're buying Nifty here, I would suggest one should be buying Nifty here. However, one also should be buying the 10,300 put strike, which is at the money, with about 110 points premium.
Abhijit, good morning to you as well. How are you viewing the bias on the benchmark indices as we move into the next few sessions?
Yes, Nifty is in the range of 10,250 to 10,350, maybe 10,370 on the futures. So there is a trend line which comes from the all-time high, and unless that is crossed before the elections, we might dip further. But then at the same time, the market is still strong, and the long should be still held, and it could some hedging should be done when Nifty rises towards 10,350.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Nifty as well as Bank Nifty so far. Both these indices have seen some bit of pressure in the morning trade. Let's shift our focus to options corner now and find out what sort of option strategies our experts are suggesting in today's trade. Nirav, over to you. Any sort of option strategy that you have on Nifty or Bank Nifty for the day?
Yeah, see, I would suggest one to buy Nifty future at current levels around 10,300. Again, also one should be hedging their positions by buying 10,300 put strike with the Gujarat election not very far away. So I would suggest buy both, keep a stop loss of about 50 points. If Nifty comes down to say 10,200 or 10,100, that is where your stop loss might get triggered, but only 50 points. You're relatively hedged, not a big position that you stand to lose here. Now, with the election coming up, the premiums are likely to remain high. So, if Nifty comes down, your stop loss might just get triggered, around the 20th or 21st. And if Nifty moves up, your target should be around 10,500, 10,550 odd levels, which is where you stand to gain at least 150 points.
And Abhijit, you also have a similar strategy. You do also suggest that the rises should be used to hedge against longs?
Yes, I had advised a 10,300 call, which was at 60 last Tuesday, and now it is about 120, 136 is the high. So that position should be held, and when Nifty rises towards 10,350, maybe a 10,300 put. Right now it is, above 100, but maybe that might come to 80, 85. That can be bought as a hedge, and maybe around 10,250 if Nifty comes there. Longs can be added with a final stop loss of 10,200 on the spot.
Okay, so those are the option strategies being suggested by Abhijit as well as Nirav. But let's also focus on the stock futures, which are buzzing in today's trade. And Agam was highlighting because of the higher crude oil prices, we are seeing some pockets which have either been under pressure, but you've got the upstream companies from the likes of ONGC as well as GAIL. Both these stocks have seen gains coming about. Both of them have been trading with gains of 1.5 to 2%. Nirav, on the charts, any sort of trade that you're seeing for ONGC ONGC or GAIL?
Yeah, both stocks are a buy. In fact, GAIL had made a 52-week high just yesterday. So I would suggest one to buy GAIL also and ONGC also. Good open interest built up on both. In fact, there is much more aggressive on GAIL. Because GAIL has actually moved up quite a bit in the last few days, my call would be to buy ONGC here. It still has a little bit more scope, to move up to 195, 200 odd levels from current levels. You can keep a stop loss about 176 for your longs.
Okay, what's really standing out for me is that while there has been some amount of accumulation in a lot of these futures, active futures, the underlying really hasn't moved too much. So I suspect there is some amount of consolidation. So let me pull up Havells India. Now, again, in terms of open interest, it has gained about 10.5% in today's day of trade, but the underlying largely flat with a positive bias, but still at around 540. Abhijit, what's your call on Havells India and whether or not you do see a long or a short on this counter going ahead?
Yes, Havells is in an uptrend, and as long as it is above 530 on the spot, I mean 530 cash, it is a strong stock. Only thing is it can have a small resistance near 540, 545, and if it closes above 545, it is a clean breakout on Havells.
Okay, 540 is the mark where Havells currently trades, but your biggest gainer among the F&O securities today is Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, which is up almost 4% in trade. Let's just check on the future side if there is any sort of long build-up that has happened. Not really, actually, but the futures are trading with the premium of almost 6 rupees. Nirav, at current levels on Dr. Reddy's, would you initiate any long positions?
Very difficult to say in Dr. Reddy. Actually, what has really happened is near the 2000 levels, the spike in volume is huge. There has been huge buying which has happened around the 2000, 2200 mark. However, having said that, 2400 level is a very, very strong resistance for this stock, and a breakout for 2400 is required for it to move to around 3000 levels. So at current levels, I wouldn't initiate any longs. I wouldn't short either. However, I would wait for a breakout, and on the breakout I would buy a Dr. Reddy aggressively for a target of about 3000, and then keep a stop loss about 2200.
Abhijit, we are expecting some amount of volatility, but when it comes to the India VIX specifically, what levels would you keep an eye on or watch out for that could, drastically change your opinion on the Nifty, that is on the higher side as well as the lower side?
Higher side, India VIX has to close only above 15.5, where in fact it had made a double top in the last 2-3 weeks. So only on a close above 15.5 it will be a worry. Otherwise, between 13 and 15.5 it is just, it's a range. And below 12.7 to 13, then it will break down maybe towards even 11.
Okay, well, the recent high of India VIX is around 15.3, and once again it's inching on the higher side. 14.5 is the current mark. India VIX is currently trading almost at day's high. Okay, then it's time for us to address our viewer queries. Our first caller for the day is Gaurav Patel. Hi Gaurav, good morning. Thanks a lot for calling us. Tell us what you want to know from our experts.
Hello, good morning. I have a call and put in buying. I bought 25,200 put and 25,500 call at price of 100 rupees. So actually I closed the position of call. I just have put 25,200 put. So should I hold
okay,
or...
Gaurav, I'm just going to interrupt there. Your open position right now is on Bank Nifty, 25,200 put strike. Could you tell us what was the premium when you bought that option?
104.
104. Okay. So you want to know what to do with this right now?
I think he's bought two
one of them he's closed, so that's what he's saying. One of them is closed. Okay, I'll go across to Abhijit and get some view going there. Abhijit, 25,200 Bank Nifty strike, which he's bought at 104. What do you think he should do?
Bank Nifty has a very good support near the lows today, so he should use that to, he can buy at 26,000 or maybe the 25,500 call again, and I would advise to use stop loss of 25,150 on the Bank Nifty futures, and right now you should square off the put, and only if it goes below 25,150 there is a worry on Bank Nifty futures.
Okay, let's move in and take queries from social media. And well, the first query comes from Sagar Gupta. He has a long on Wockhardt December futures at around 720, and he wants to know what he should do. Let's pull up Wockhardt. Sagar's longs are at 720. It's currently at 753, so he's clearly making a lot of money as of now. Nirav, what can Sagar do? Do you advise him to book his profits or continue with trailing stop losses?
Yeah, I would like to continue with the trailing stop losses. The chart for Wockhardt is very positive. It has broken out above 740 levels. Now we should be keeping a stop loss of his buying price of 720 and hold for a target of about 800. This is a multi-year breakout also. So very likely that this stock is now going to move towards 900 levels. However, the first target would be around 800, which is where if he's bought in cash, he should be selling half and keeping the other half. Or if he's bought two futures, one future should be sold around 800 levels.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Wockhardt. Let's just take some live queries on YouTube. Pardon me. Narendra Kurani has written to us. He spot the 940 call strike of Reliance Industries and also of the December contract. When he bought the strike, the premium was around 23 rupees, and I guess the premium now has slipped down to almost 18 or 19 rupees. He's asking, should he hold on with this? Abhijit, what do you think? Should he hold on? We've seen some recovery coming back into Reliance as the stock is trading in the positive territory. Do you think he can make money here? Can he keep a stop loss, or he should just book his losses?
Reliance is trading in a range of 915 to 935 futures. So below 915, he should exit the call. But if it crosses 935, if Reliance futures closes above 935, it will be a big breakout and it can go towards the previous high of 960 or maybe even beyond. So he should look for the close above 935 and then he can carry it.
All right, we have another query on Twitter. This one comes from Nitesh, and he wants to know if he can buy a Maruti option and wait till expiry. Now, we don't know if it is a call or a put, but I'm assuming that this is a call option considering that the stock is on a tear. Well, Nirav, if I can come to you on Maruti Suzuki, what would you advise Nitesh to do at current levels?
See, Maruti has witnessed a huge move from 8,000 to 9,000 in almost a week. So I do expect certain amount of consolidation in this stock. Buying any option at current levels would not be healthy. However, if he wants to buy for another 2-3 months, he can buy a future here, and along with that hedge with a 9,100 put option. That would be the best bet going forward, looking at the move.
Okay, and Maruti has been on a tear this year. We've seen upgrades coming about. Yesterday, Morgan Stanley had upgraded the target price and also upgraded the counter. But let's move on. Besides Maruti, we've got some query coming in on the Nifty 10,500 call strike. Rohit Pandey on Facebook has written to us. He's asking what sort of levels can one expect on the 10,500 call strike. Abhijit, I don't know if he's taken any position here. If somebody is holding, let's say, the 10,500 call strike of Nifty, what would you suggest them?
10,500 call has a support near 30, so he should hold with a stop loss, and only if it closes below 30 he should exit it. And maybe if Nifty goes towards 10,500 next week, he can get maybe 50 or 60 on this call.
All right. Well, in terms of some of the key gainers in the Nifty, I do want to address some of them which are leading the gains, and that will include stocks like Vedanta as well, because Vedanta has also moved up by as much as 10.5%. What's really happened with the metal stocks is that they have seen a lot of movement over the past couple of weeks. Today is the day when Vedanta December futures is looking at an increase of open interest of around 2.2%, and the spot, of course, is also on the rise once again. Nirav, on a technical standpoint, we have seen a lot of movement in metal stocks recently. What would your view be on something like a Vedanta? And if not Vedanta, do you have a view on any of the other metal stocks with the point of view of trade over the next couple of days?
Yeah, first I'll just take Vedanta. See, Vedanta has been witnessing higher top, higher bottom formation. Its previous top, in fact, swing top was around 280 levels. Now, after it made a top of around 340, it has come down. It has taken good support from its previous top. Now, that is a very good sign. Technically, it is very likely from here that Vedanta is going to move up towards its previous top of around 320, 340 odd levels. So one should be buying here with a stop loss of about 280. Again, now coming back to the metal sector as a whole has been in tremendous form. I do expect all stocks to witness good amount of open interest built up going forward. Having said that, in the last week there hasn't been much open interest built up. Only in the national aluminium we've seen certain amount of long creation, but not in other stocks. However, stocks like JSW Steel, Tata Steel, all of these stocks are witnessing higher top, higher bottom and long creation, which are being rolled over every month on month. I do not see any distribution also going forward in the metal stock, so one should remain long as a whole in the metal sector.
Okay, so remain long on the metal sector is the call coming in from Nirav, and we're getting a lot of queries from the pharma space today. The Nifty Pharma Index is also outperforming as it's trading in the positive territory. You've got Ankit Bed, he wants a view on Sun Pharma, and Sumit Pandey, he wants a view on Lupin and Glenmark. So we'll take the view on all these three counters one by one. First up, Sun Pharma. Abhijit, on the charts, would you recommend any sort of positions to be taken at 526 levels?
I don't think Sun Pharma is looking good on the charts right now. In fact, I would like Wockhardt or Lupin more in the pharma space than Sun Pharma right now.
Okay, so you prefer Wockhardt and Lupin. Let's also get a query going on Glenmark then. Nirav, what about Glenmark? How is that looking on the charts?
See, Glenmark has broken an important support of 600 levels now. Until it again gets back above the 600 levels, one should not be buying Glenmark. It has also witnessed certain amount of short creation in open interest, so one should stay away at least till it crosses about 600 odd levels. One needs to see some amount of short covering also. Now the second stock, I think Lupin, right?
Yes, Lupin.
Yes. So Lupin here looks very good. In fact, it has witnessed huge volumes around its support around 820. So one should be buying Lupin at current levels. It has got good scope to move up to around 900, 950 levels. So one should be buying at current levels with a stop loss of about 820. Going long on futures also is recommended.
Just going to squeeze in one more pharma counter since we're talking about this space. If you could just pull up the futures of Divi's Laboratories. That stock has also seen good gains, 2.5% higher. Abhijit, what's the call there?
Yes, Divi's has always been in an uptrend for the last couple of months, and it was only consolidating. And any close above 1070 or 1080 on the futures will be a bullish breakout, and it can head towards maybe 1120, 1140 in the coming days.
All right, so let's move in and take calls from our experts in today's day of trade. Abhijit, coming back to you, what are your calls that you would recommend to our audiences?
Yeah, I have two longs. One is PFC long only above 121 with a stop loss of 118 for a target of 127 and 130. And the second long is the Engineers India long, that too above 190, which is the high today, with a stop loss of 184, and it can go towards 200.
Okay, so Abhijit has long on Engineers India as well as PFC. Nirav, you too have two long calls for the day, right?
Yeah. See, the first one is on Motherson Sumi. It has been witnessing higher top, higher bottom formation. Good long built up seen in this counter. One should be buying here with a stop loss of 370 and a possible target of 398. The second one is a buy on ONGC. It has witnessed a breakout today. It can go up towards 195 levels. So one should be buying here with a stop loss of 176. Good open interest built up seen today.
All right, we'll try and get in more queries. But then this one comes from Geet Mehra, who is long on KPIT Technology December futures at 166, and she wants to know what she can do. Can we pull up KPIT Technologies futures? Geet is long at 166, currently trading at 171, which means that she is sitting on a reasonable profit, if not a substantial one. Well, Nirav, I'm going to come back to you on this one. What can Geet do? Continue her position as far as KPIT Tech goes?
Yeah, I would think so. One should keep long in KPIT. If it comes down to 160 odd levels, one can add more positions there. The chart and open interest also look very strong for this counter. This stock is now going to move up towards about 200 levels and also break out from there. So one should be keeping longs.
And look at PC Jewelers. That stock has been on a roll. It was trading up yesterday. Today also it is surged almost 2.5%. And look at the open interest build up, higher 10%. And if I'm not mistaken, these are the all-time high levels being seen on PC Jewelers. Abhijit, on the charts, what should one do if somebody is holding a long position here? Should they have any sort of target on the upside, or would you recommend them to book profits?
Did you say PC Jewelers?
Yes.
Yeah, PC Jewelers has a small resistance near 450, 455, but if it crosses that, it can move towards 500. So you should hold with the maybe today's low as the stop loss.
All right, those are some of the views coming in from our experts, but we're running out of time and we're going to wrap. So, with that, we'd like to thank both Nirav as well as Abhijit for taking us through those strategies. And of course, there's lots more lined up, so stay tuned in the Bloomberg Quint and we'll keep bringing you more.